I'm a low-ranking Omega. My parents never wanted me, so it was my grandfather who raised me. Before he passed away, he entrusted me to another family. Quinn's grandfather was an old friend of his, and without hesitation, he arranged for his grandson to marry me. When Quinn heard the news, he nearly flipped the table. He pointed at me and angrily questioned his grandfather. There are plenty of ways to take care of someone. Why does it have to be through marriage? Quinn's grandfather calmly took a sip of tea. I looked into it. You two have a high compatibility score. You've always avoided dating. I think Samuel's a good choice. Quinn took a deep breath. Grandpa, you know I can't stand Omegas. Besides, just because our compatibility is high doesn't mean we'll be happy together. His grandfather narrowed his eyes. Did you forget? You met Samuel once when you were little and even said you wanted to marry him when you grew up. Well, now your grandpa's making that wish come true. What, now you've got a problem with it? Quinn stared at him in disbelief, speechless. That was just a childhood joke. I don't even remember saying that. But his grandfather wouldn't listen. He had already made up his mind about the marriage. Quinn turned to me. And you? Do you want to get married? I lowered my head and said nothing. Marriage is marriage, doesn't matter who it's with. If it's not him, it'll just be some other alpha. I never had a say in who I'd marry. Even though my parents didn't want me, they always had their eye on me. Hoping to get a fat dowry for me so they could afford a bride for my alpha younger brother. That's why my grandfather made sure to place me with the Quinns before he passed. 2. Quinn had no choice but to accept it, and sat silently in the car with me on the way to register our marriage. He handed me a prenuptial agreement and motioned for me to read it. I didn't even glance at it. I flipped straight to the last page and picked up the pen. You're not going to read it? Quinn glanced at me. Aren't you afraid I'm screwing you over? You wouldn't. I wrote my name down, stroke by stroke. Quinn gave a cold laugh. Yeah, right. If anyone's getting screwed over, it's me. You must have brainwashed my grandpa or something. How else would I end up like this? I opened my mouth but couldn't say anything as nasty as he just did. Quinn was an S-rank alpha. If not for his grandfather, he'd never marry someone like me, a low-rank Omega. Dryly, I mumbled, I didn't, then turned away and said nothing more. After we got our marriage certificate, he tossed the little red booklet to me like it meant nothing. I've got stuff to do. I won't be giving you a ride. He strode off toward the parking lot. But after a few steps, he turned around. Just so we're clear, we'll live our own lives. I won't bother you, and you don't bother me. And 1 year from today, we're getting divorced. Got it? 3. I found our marital home by memory. Beep beep beep, wrong password. I stared at the digital lock, confused, and tried again. Still wrong. Quinn's grandfather had given me the code. I'd been here twice before we got the certificate. No way I remembered it wrong. If the code didn't work, that meant Quinn had changed it. I blinked slowly, then tried a new string of numbers on a whim. Beep, unlocked. The apartment was pitch dark. Quinn wasn't home yet. Looked like he wasn't planning to come back tonight either. With him gone, I was happy to enjoy the peace. After dinner, I curled up on the couch with a bowl of fruit salad and started watching a drama. Then I heard the door. I turned my head, and locked eyes with Quinn. He froze mid-step, eyes flickering with surprise. How'd you get in? He asked awkwardly. I used the password. He had secretly changed it to today's date, exactly 1 year from now. Like he was trying to remind me. Or maybe remind himself. This marriage was never about love or choice. 1 year from today, we'll get divorced. I looked away and said quietly, don't worry. When the time comes, I won't cling to you. Quinn gave me a long, unreadable stare, then muttered, you'd better not, and went upstairs without another word. 4. After getting along peacefully with Quinn for half a month, I received a message from his grandfather. He asked me and Quinn to come over for dinner. I replied with a simple, okay, then stood by the road to hail a ride. Before I even confirmed the pickup location, a car pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Quinn's sharply defined side profile. "Get in," he said. He stared straight ahead, not even glancing at me. If it weren't for the fact that I was the only one around, I wouldn't have known he was talking to me. Seeing how reluctant he looked, I didn't even hesitate before declining. "No need. I'll just get a cab." Quinn clicked his tongue, clearly annoyed. "So you are all over me about getting married, and now you want to play innocent? When did I ever? It's not like I dragged him to the marriage office in chains." Even though I'm not someone who gets mad easily, that really ticked me off. I turned on my heel and walked away without a word. I'd find another spot to catch a ride. The car door slammed behind me, followed by Quinn's angry voice. "Samuel, are you dying to see me get yelled at by Grandpa?" Honestly, I kinda was. He was being impossible. Quinn quickly caught up and grabbed my arm. I stumbled a bit, pain shooting through my arm from his grip. I couldn't help but hiss. "I didn't even grab you that hard," he muttered. Startled, he let go right away, his eyes glued to the red mark on my arm. "God, omegas are so fragile. I barely touched you and you're acting like it's the end of the world. Such a hassle." I rubbed my arm and shot him a glare, snapping, Yeah. Fragile and a hassle. I never asked you to pick me up." Quinn went quiet, his breathing unsteady for a few seconds. Then, awkwardly, he reached out again. This time gently. His voice had softened, too. "I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Come on, let's not keep Grandpa waiting." 5. When we arrived at Quinn's grandfather's house, he happily pulled me over to play chess, completely ignoring the sulking Quinn nearby. As we played, I chatted casually with the old man. He glanced over at Quinn and handed me a watch, saying it was a wedding gift. I tried to refuse, but in the end, I had no choice but to extend my wrist as he fastened it for me. Smiling, he said, "Samuel, if he ever bullies you, just tell me. I'm on your side." "I know, Grandpa." I grinned and nodded. Quinn, sitting beside us, immediately frowned in discomfort. This place felt familiar. When I was little, Grandpa had brought me here once. Back then, Quinn didn't have the permanent scowl he wore now. He'd been more like a little sweetheart. He'd cling to me constantly, shamelessly showering me with compliments and insisting I become his wife. Who would have thought? That childish joke would actually come true when we grew up. I really did marry Quinn. As the sky darkened, Quinn finally found an excuse to interrupt. "I thought we were here to eat. The food's gone cold and you're still playing chess." At dinner, Quinn was forced to sit across from me. His long legs had nowhere to go, and they kept bumping into mine under the table. Remembering how he'd hurt my arm earlier, I couldn't help but want a little revenge. So I deliberately brushed my foot against his a few times, just to mess with him. He stiffened, eyes wide, and dropped his chopsticks with a loud clatter. "Samuel, you..." His grandfather cut him off, clueless about what was happening under the table. "Quinn, why are you snapping at Samuel out of nowhere?" "Grandpa, he clearly..." Quinn's ears flushed red, and he stammered, unable to explain. I smiled innocently, like I had no idea what was going on. 6. Quinn stayed grumpy all the way till bedtime. Unlike our marital home, there was no option to sleep in separate rooms here. He had no choice but to share a bed with me. And yet, he wrapped himself up tightly in the covers like some modest housewife worried he'd be taken advantage of. The room was filled with a faint minty scent. I didn't think much of it, assuming it was just a scented spray or something. But as the night wore on, a subtle heat began to rise deep in my body. It was so stifling, I couldn't fall asleep. Then, a cool hand suddenly pressed down on my shoulder, carrying that same minty scent. Quinn's cold voice followed. If you can't sleep, go out. His arm was so cool. I instinctively hugged him and rubbed my cheek against it. In a daze, I muttered. Did we forget to turn on the AC? Or is it broken? Quinn, I'm burning up. His entire body froze. He pushed me away with a bit of force. Samuel, are you even aware you're going into heat? As soon as he said that, I caught a whiff of my own scent. The grapefruit-like aroma had somehow leaked out and was now thick in the air. I reached back to feel my nape. There was no swelling. This wasn't a real heat. I'd forgotten. Low-level omegas are especially sensitive to alpha pheromones. Just a trace is enough to trigger a false heat. Panicking, I bit down on my finger, trying to use pain to suppress the desire. What do I do? You can't take suppressants for a false heat. My eyes welled up, and I couldn't even see Quinn's expression clearly. All I could feel was that unmistakable mint scent, cool and pervasive. A large hand reached out and covered my eyes. Quinn's voice was low and hoarse. Don't look at me like that. Time passed, but the heat only got worse. Feeling desperate, I grabbed his wrist and asked tentatively. Could you help me? Quinn looked at me through half-lidded eyes and replied with another question. Did you forget the agreement? It clearly stated, we wouldn't interfere in each other's lives. Not even during heats or sensitivity periods. I didn't forget. But he was the reason I was in a false heat. Would it kill him to help me out just this once? The minty scent in the air began to fade. A clear sign of his rejection. Quinn wasn't going to help me. Frustrated, I pulled back my hand. Turned over with the blanket in my arms, and silently faced away from him. In that moment, the fire inside me seemed to be smothered by the cold spreading from my heart. At least now I could breathe again. Hassle, he muttered. Then came the faint rustle of clothes. Before I could react, I was pulled into a warm embrace. And without any warning. A sharp pain pierced the back of my neck. 7. After the temporary mark, I didn't see Quinn for several days. The excuse? A sudden business trip. But I had a feeling he was avoiding me. Right after biting into my gland that night, while I was still soaking in the relief from the dissipated heat, Quinn didn't even glance back. He rushed into the bathroom and shut the door behind him. I waited for him to come back so we could sleep. But even when I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, he never came out. The sound of running water echoed constantly from the bathroom. White noise that lulled me to sleep. When I woke up, Grandpa told me. Quinn had already left on his business trip. Freshly marked omegas naturally become dependent on their alpha. But my alpha had left without even saying goodbye. At that moment, I understood. A temporary mark and a warm hug didn't mean a thing. Quinn still didn't accept me as his omega. I pushed down my disappointment and calmly told Grandpa I understood. Smelling the mixed pheromones on me, he gave a small smile. He showed me pictures of Quinn growing up. And told me all kinds of stories about him. Then he explained why Quinn hated omegas so much. Quinn was handsome and an S-class alpha. As an heir, people constantly tried to curry favor with him. They used alpha-omega pheromone interactions to try and lure him in. Like sending omegas in heat to his hotel room during business trips. Or randomly harassing him with pheromones in other places. Whether intentional or not. It happened too many times to count. Eventually, Quinn grew more and more disgusted by pheromones. And by omegas themselves. Grandpa looked at me gently and said, "So, could you give him a little more time, for my sake?" 8. Out of respect for Quinn's grandfather, I took the initiative to message Quinn. "When will you be back?" After waiting a long time, Quinn didn't reply. The mark on the back of my neck had long disappeared, and the mint scent was fading from my body. My glands kept swelling intermittently these past couple of days. It was a sign that my heat was coming. Quinn hadn't returned, so I simply went back to the old house where I used to live with his grandfather. Though run down, It was the safe place where I had endured past heats. As I turned into an alley, my phone dinged. It was Quinn. He replied briefly, "Today." No extra words. Maybe it was the pheromones messing with me, but I felt deeply disappointed and refreshed the message several times hoping for more. Suddenly, chaotic footsteps sounded behind me, mixed with a sharp, pungent scent. My glands twitched, a painful discomfort spread from the back of my neck. Someone forcefully pulled me backward. Before I could even call for help, rough hands quickly covered my mouth. My phone was smashed to the ground with a dull thud, making no splash. Someone pressed down on me and deeply inhaled at my neck, laughing in a lewd way. "Out wandering while in heat, little Omega? Are you waiting for Big Brother?" His hands slid to my waist, making me sick. Suppressing the strong discomfort, I kicked his groin hard. The man groaned in pain. Ignoring my phone, I pushed myself up and ran. But after a few steps, the furious man grabbed me and slammed me against the wall. "Damn, still kicking me? You get all worked up when you smell my pheromones, pretending to be innocent." Pain stabbed the back of my head, my vision blurred. I struggled fiercely with all my might. I regretted coming back here for my heat today. The next second, the weight pressing me disappeared abruptly. Sounds of punches and kicks followed, along with the man's painful cries. I stumbled to my feet, gasping for air as my vision slowly cleared. It was Quinn. Tension melted away, my legs weak, I leaned against the wall, panting. Quinn looked anxious and caught me. The fresh mint scent pushed away the stench, filling me with safety. 9. Quinn called the police and told his assistant to stay and wait for them to take the man away. He took me to the hospital. Being held in his arms still left me shaken. Instinctively, I clung tightly, unwilling to let go. Quinn's tone was unusually gentle. "Samuel, let go, let's get you checked first." I shook my head, wanting to cling to him like an octopus, afraid of being left behind and facing something like earlier again. "This is a hospital. Nothing like that will happen here," Quinn patiently soothed me with his pheromones. "Let the doctor check your wounds. After we bandage you up, we'll go home, okay?" I slowly relaxed my grip and looked at Quinn's gentle face. I doubted if it was real. Since when had Quinn been this kind to me? The cool mint scent brought a strong sense of security. It finally let me relax. Quinn wasn't lying. After the checkup and bandaging, he took me home. 10. Why did you go there today? Knowing he disliked omegas, I didn't want him to know my heat was near. I made up a small lie. I left something over there and went back to get it. Quinn believed me. "Next time, just tell me. I'll take you." I looked at him in surprise. Quinn didn't speak, focused on the TV. After a while, he suddenly said, "It was Grandpa's request. Don't think too much." Oh. So it wasn't a sudden change in him. Usually, Quinn wouldn't stay long in the living room. If not in the study or bedroom, he'd be out. But today, unusually, he stayed on the couch watching variety shows with me. Holding a pillow, I grew increasingly restless. My body temperature rose, glands burning. The grapefruit scent began to slip out again. Quinn moved away slightly, frowning deeply. "Samuel, you're in heat again." I bit my lip, lowered my head, and said quietly, "My heat has come. Last time was a false heat." Clenching my fists tightly, I forced down the urge to get close to an alpha. "Quinn, you should go quickly. Don't let it affect you." Quinn didn't hesitate and got up to leave. Watching his back, I almost called him to stay. Even if he gave me just a little pheromone, it would help. His last words, troublesome, flashed through my mind, and I dared not ask him to stay. I shakily took my suppressant and slowly returned to my room. Curling into a pile of clothes I'd made a nest from, I heard a knock on the door. Opening it, I found Quinn. In heat, he asked awkwardly, cheeks faintly red, "Do you need me to help?" Ha! What did he mean? Was he bothered by my pheromones and came to intervene? Weren't we supposed to not interfere with each other? I was self-aware and didn't dare think more. Quinn's face suddenly darkened, nodded, right, no interference. He turned and slammed the door loudly behind him. I burrowed back into the clothes pile, waiting for the suppressant to work. The heat didn't lessen but intensified, like being thrown into boiling water, soaking wet. Desire pushed me shakily to my feet. Stepping out, I bumped right into Quinn's arms. Just as I opened my mouth to speak, Quinn sighed softly. Looking up, his expression was like he'd expected this. He shook his head helplessly. I knew omegas have terrible self-control. He carried me back to the room. I tried to explain I only wanted some pheromones, nothing more. Quinn didn't give me a chance to talk, pressing his lips to mine. In the thick heat, the cool mint scent comforted me greatly. 11. Quinn grew much closer to me. He no longer avoided me after just making a temporary mark like before. He spent more time at home with me. Hugging became a daily habit. His earlier dislike seemed fake, he appeared to accept me as an omega. We spent a month like in a honeymoon phase. After the routine omega checkup at the hospital, Quinn finished work and came to pick me up. In the car, I naturally leaned in to kiss him. Maybe because of the mark, I'd grown addicted to his scent lately. Missing a single kiss made me restless. I lightly touched his lips. Quinn turned his face away calmly. He always acted this way, avoiding affection outside. He explained, we're going to meet a baby later, the strong pheromones wouldn't be good. He took me to his friend's baby's first birthday party. The baby sat in the stroller with little feet up, watched by Quinn and me as he sucked his hand. My son's cute, right? Keith smiled, pulling the wet hand from the baby's mouth. I couldn't help but reach out, yeah, so cute, such a soft face. Next moment, the baby was placed in Quinn's arms. Good at holding him, Keith joked, you two should hurry up and have a kid, to be a companion for mine. Quinn didn't respond but gently squeezed the baby's hand, lost in thought. Keith's casual words made me start to imagine. What would a child of Quinn and me be like? Would they be soft and cute too? Would they look more like Quinn or me? Though Quinn probably wouldn't agree. After all, we had agreed to divorce in a year. How could a divorcing AO have kids? Seeing Quinn didn't answer, the topic shifted elsewhere. After a moment, Quinn suddenly said, all right. I looked at him in disbelief. Quinn smiled slightly, calm as ever. All right, what? 12. As the clock neared 9, the baby yawned and was carried off to sleep by his omega dad. I was tired too, so I went upstairs to look for Quinn before going home. The study door was half open, with light spilling through the crack. I could hear their voices. How is it? Having an omega around isn't so bad, right? Not really, Quinn replied flatly, it's a hassle, always going into heat. And when that happens, they whine for pheromones like they can't live without it. Hey, don't say that, Keith interrupted. Samuel's pheromone level is low, he's easily affected by yours. Besides, it helps you two grow closer, isn't that good? Quinn didn't respond. He seemed to notice something, suddenly turning to glance at the door. I quickly slipped aside and quietly went downstairs. No one was there. My throat tightened and my eyes stung. So Quinn still really hates me, hates that I'm an omega. The kindness after heat was just an illusion. The cold dislike has always been the reality. It was my pheromones and the marking that made me imagine Quinn was starting to like me. Soon Quinn appeared downstairs. Samuel, let's go. I forced myself to keep calm, exhaled deeply, and said, okay. 13. Lying down, memories of the past 2 months with Quinn played like a movie in my mind. From his obvious impatience at first to the gentle patience later. Before his kindness, I could tolerate his impatience. After realizing he could be gentle, I couldn't bear his blunt dislike. I sniffled, belatedly feeling hurt. It wasn't me who wanted this marriage in the first place. In the end, he only hates me, no one else. We could have just lived apart as agreed. But he crossed that line first, staying with me through heat. Yet it feels like it's my fault. For a moment, I didn't want to continue like this. I couldn't take his hatred for me and for Omegas anymore. Unable to sleep, I got up. Before the wedding, Quinn had the lawyer prepare the divorce papers. The printer spit out pages of the agreement. I skimmed through, crossed out some parts, and signed it straightforwardly. At noon, Quinn came home. As usual, he gave me a hug. "What's wrong?" Quinn held my face. "You don't look happy." I nearly burst into tears but forced calm and shook my head. During the meal, watching Quinn's calm demeanor, I kept recalling what I overheard yesterday. I finally spoke. "Before marriage, you said you hated Omegas. Do you still hate me now?" Quinn glanced at me. "Why ask all of a sudden?" "Nothing." I finished quickly and went back to my room. Quinn followed, frowning. "Samuel, what's really going on?" Perfect timing, I didn't need to go to him. I handed him the signed divorce papers and quietly said, "Quinn, let's get a divorce." 14. "What do you mean? Why divorce?" Quinn said nothing, letting the papers fall to the floor. My lashes fluttered as I looked down at the black letters on white paper, vision blurring. "Isn't this what you wanted?" "I've made up my mind. I don't want to force you to stay." Quinn took a deep breath. "I never said I hate you, nor that I want a divorce right now." I retorted, "But it's going to happen eventually, right?" Quinn stayed silent and his pheromones suddenly grew stronger. After a while, he said, "Grandpa won't agree. If I talk to him, he will." Quinn grunted softly. The minty scent changed from fresh to heavy, making it hard to breathe. Suddenly, my phone dinged, breaking the silence. I opened it. It was the hospital sending my test results. I knew I should deal with Quinn first, but somehow I clicked on it. My heart inexplicably sped up. When I saw the report, it skipped a beat. "I'm pregnant? How is that possible?" I took precautions during heat. Seeing my pale face, Quinn pulled me into his arms. "What's wrong?" He saw the screen clearly. Quinn chuckled lightly, his aura relaxed. "Still want the divorce?" I dazedly put down my phone, blinking in confusion. This child came too suddenly. "Yes." His retreating back and the loud slam of the door was my only reply. 15. Ignoring Quinn, I booked another hospital checkup. When I stepped out, Quinn was already waiting. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. "Samuel, let's talk." I dodged his hand. "No time." "Where are you going?" "I'll take you." An Omega's strength isn't a match for an Alpha's, and Quinn forced me into the car. After all, the baby inside is ours both. He should be involved. The doctor told me that because my pheromone level is low, I need daily temporary marking from an alpha. I glanced at Quinn waiting outside, then asked, "Can't I take synthetic pheromones?" "We're divorcing, I can't always rely on my ex for pheromones." The doctor shook her head. "Synthetic can't compare to natural, even a hug's pheromones beat synthetic. So I still need Quinn." On the way home, I closed my eyes in frustration, unsure how to handle this. The car stopped at home. Quinn finally spoke after the silence. "Please don't divorce yet, Samuel." I shook my head. "Divorce won't stop me from keeping the baby." "I never said you can't see the baby after." He brought up Grandpa. "Grandpa's old. I'm afraid he'll get too upset, it's bad for his health." He even knew Grandpa would be angry. So why didn't he take this marriage seriously from the start? Seeing me silent, Quinn proposed a compromise. "The house is in your name. I'll move out tomorrow, you can keep living here. Is that okay?" I reluctantly agreed. 16. Quinn moved out slowly. He didn't take much with him, but somehow the house felt emptier. I kept myself busy to avoid overthinking. Only when the sky darkened did I realize how hungry I was. Just as I was about to order food, Quinn surprised me by calling. Have you eaten yet? Not yet. On the phone, I heard him sigh in relief and cautiously say, I forgot we're not living together now. It's dinner time, can I bring some over so we eat together? After that, he waited quietly for my answer. I hesitated but said, okay. Before he moved out, I usually asked him if he'd eaten. Now he was the one initiating. We had always eaten together anyway. One more meal wouldn't hurt. Within a minute, Quinn showed up. It felt like he'd been waiting outside for me to say yes. I glanced at him curiously. Quinn calmly laid the food on the table. I thought he'd eat and leave. But he sat down beside me on the couch, saying, we didn't finish watching that show together. I didn't buy it. He always fell asleep halfway through shows. Can't you just watch it alone? I told him bluntly. No, Quinn said, watching TV while feeding me fruit, I don't like watching alone. Fine. Since he was here, even if he wasn't purposely releasing pheromones, it would help me a bit. As sleepiness crept in, I started to shoo him away again. This time, Quinn didn't make excuses. Reluctantly, he changed his shoes. Before leaving, I touched my belly, hesitated a moment, then called him back. Quinn, have you read the Omega Pregnancy Handbook? I have. I bit my lip and asked, do you remember what it says? The next moment, I was pulled into a mint-scented embrace. He gently massaged my glands, sending tingles that made my legs weak. It might hurt a little, bear with me. Then his canine teeth pierced my skin. The cool mint scent rushed into my glands and spread throughout my body. I clenched my teeth, holding back a moan. After some time, I moved my numb legs. That's enough. I'm going to sleep now. Quinn released me as I asked. But I was still unsteady on my legs, so he caught me again. He licked his lips and asked seriously. Is this okay? Okay what? I looked up, confused, but his intense gaze made my heart skip a beat. You're overthinking it. Of course not. Before I could finish, his kiss cut me off. Wasn't he supposed to hate omegas? Why kiss me now? 17. For half a month straight, Quinn used the same awkward excuse. It's dinner time, I brought some over so we can eat together. Since my baby and I needed his pheromones, I never refused. Then today's checkup changed everything. The doctor told me temporary marking could be done once a week instead of daily. Finally, I could say no to Quinn. I've eaten. You eat yourself. Save leftovers for next time. After a moment's silence, Quinn asked. Was yesterday's food not good? I made something different today. No. I made a move to close the door. Quinn quickly stopped me and glanced at my neck. You're not marked yet. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh. The doctor said once a day isn't necessary anymore. Quinn looked stunned as I shut the door on him. The next day, Quinn called again on schedule. Grandpa says he misses you, wants us to come over. At Grandpa's place, he was all smiles, clearly pleased. Why didn't you tell me you were coming? I could have had Lynn prepare your favorite food. I glared at Quinn. So he was using Grandpa as an excuse to trick me. I just smiled and said, we just suddenly missed Grandpa, so we came. We stayed from day till night. Looking at the darkening sky, Quinn suggested. It looks like rain. Grandpa, can we stay here tonight? Grandpa was delighted. I wasn't so keen. Staying meant sharing a room with Quinn. Listening to the rain outside, I deliberately sat on the sofa to stall time. Quinn asked uncertainly. Are you mad? I snorted, not really. I wasn't mad, just confused. Quinn had been acting strange lately. Let's rest in the room first, okay? Quinn asked softly, Grandpa might notice otherwise. Using Grandpa as an excuse again. I shot him a glare and stormed back to the room. Lying down, I curled my back to Quinn, refusing to communicate. I heard the rustle of clothes behind me. Quinn came closer. Want some pheromones? I closed my eyes, ignoring him. Okay, Quinn said to himself, the handbook says pregnant omegas need a lot of alpha pheromones. Before I could answer, the minty scent overwhelmed me. Sniffing the rich pheromones, my body and mind relaxed involuntarily. Thinking about how different his attitude had become, I smiled bitterly. Late at night, his breathing steady behind me, I curled up and whispered softly. Quinn, with how you've been lately, I almost thought you liked me. 18. After that day, Quinn disappeared for 2 days. An indescribable feeling lingered in my heart, making me restless. Pregnant omegas need alpha pheromones. I couldn't help but enter his room. Quinn hadn't lived here for a long time, the pheromone scent was faint. With no scent to sniff, I angrily hit his pillow. Damn it! He promised to give me pheromones. So why disappear now? After thinking, I decided to call him. I'd rehearsed what to say, the baby needed his alpha pheromones. The phone rang for a long time with no answer. My patience wore thin, then finally someone picked up. Quinn's voice sounded strange, breathless, and hurried. What was he doing? Am I disturbing you? I almost bit my tongue. Don't think too much, Quinn said, trying to catch his breath, I'm working out. Oh. I'd hoped for a confrontation to push him to sign the divorce papers. Quinn, you haven't given me calming pheromones these past days. My belly feels uneasy. 19. Quinn didn't keep me waiting long. Probably because he rushed over, his body was a bit warm, and his scent was strong. It actually soothed me quite well. Unconsciously, the mint scent grew stronger, almost overwhelming. I pinched my nose. Tone it down, it's too strong. Quinn stayed silent, head down, saying nothing. I felt strange and wrapped the blanket tighter, asking, Quinn, what's wrong? He slowly looked up, his eyes red at the corners. In his moist gaze was an unexplainable sadness. Samuel, I feel awful. His expression and tone were unusually pitiful and clingy. I froze, whispering, are you crazy? Did I ask for too much calming pheromone? Did he release too much and his brain malfunctioned? Quinn came closer, plaintively asking. I feel bad, why won't you come hug me? He buried his head in my arms, nudging me with his head non-stop. I want pheromones, give me pheromones. His moist lips brushed my neck, sending tingles through me. I shivered, too weak to push him away. Though I'd never seen this before, I guessed it was Quinn's sensitive phase. Without pheromones, he was so upset his eyes reddened, tears swirling in his eyes. Why won't you give me pheromones? A low-level omega's pheromones were limited. Plus, I was pregnant, needing to provide pheromones for the baby every day. How could I have enough left to soothe the grown alpha's sensitive phase? I tried to release. The grapefruit scent was easily covered by the mint, never reaching the level he wanted. Quinn cried, Samuel, please hug me. I obeyed, soothing him softly. Hug, 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 we'll do the injection soon and you won't feel bad, okay? No. Hugging alone wasn't enough, Quinn wanted kisses, even more. I like it, really like it, want to. He pressed me down and kissed me eagerly, his whole body hot against mine, making me weak. I fumbled to remove the suppressant. Without looking, I quickly injected him. The non-stop crying suddenly stopped. Quinn stared blankly, touched the back of his neck, choking up. It hurts a bit. It won't hurt soon. I patted his head and with great effort tucked him into bed. The suppressant slowly took effect, and Quinn calmed down. Watching his peaceful face, I got mad. Who was the one whining for pheromones during this sensitive time? Sniffing my own strong mint scent, I looked again. Finally, I couldn't help but kick the sleeping alpha. 20. After the sensitive phase, Quinn returned to normal. It was like that day had only been a dream. Days passed quietly. My flat belly gradually curved soft and round. In the evening, I slowly carried a watering can to tend the flowers, waiting for Quinn to finish work. A phone call broke the silence. "Samuel, where the hell have you been? So many days gone without coming home." My mood instantly dropped. I asked coldly, "What do you want?" I could already imagine Gemma throwing a tantrum over the phone. "I'm your mother, do I need a reason to look for you? Ever since the gender prediction results when I was little, they stopped wanting me. All these years, whenever they contacted me, it was for money or trying to have an alpha forcibly mark me." Gemma's tone suddenly changed completely. "Son, you're not getting any younger. Mom found you a match." "That again?" I cleared my throat, interrupting, "I'm pregnant." Gemma's voice stopped abruptly. I deliberately continued, "The baby's father left me. I can't afford an abortion. Mom, can you give me some money?" "Bah!" Gemma's tone was full of disgust, her voice sharp and harsh. "You got yourself pregnant fooling around outside, and now you want money? I don't have a son like you." Maybe afraid I would really ask for money, Gemma hung up cursing. I anxiously called back several times, annoying her enough to block me. Quietness returned. My mood sank slowly. A faint mint scent came close again, soothing and calm. I sniffed and quietly asked, "Did you hear all that?" Quinn hummed softly, no emotion in his voice. He easily carried me inside. I whispered, "I was just angry, didn't mean it." Quinn didn't ask more and silently stayed by my side. When it was time for him to leave, he helped me settle then prepared to go. Smelling his mint scent, I suddenly grabbed his shirt. "Quinn, why don't you stay tonight?" 21. Did I turn off the light? Okay. I scooted over, giving Quinn most of the bed. We hadn't slept together for a long time. I thought I'd feel awkward, but surprisingly, I got used to it quickly. Quinn's embrace was warm. I leaned in, curling into his arms. Suddenly, my eyes stung, tears threatening to fall. I rubbed my nose and whispered, "Quinn, I don't have any family left. I once had some hope for my mom and others. Thinking that since I was their child, even if my gender didn't meet their expectations, they wouldn't hate me that much. In reality, when I was 5, only Grandpa remained by my side. Only Grandpa didn't despise me as a low-level omega and took me in. You still have me, the baby, and Grandpa." Quinn rubbed the back of my head, speaking softly, "We're all your family." I grabbed his shirt, listening, but my mind drifted to what I'd overheard at Keith's place. "You don't hate me, right?" Quinn stiffened, "I don't. I don't hate you." I choked up, but I heard it all. "Hear what?" "What you said at your friend's place." Quinn looked shocked, mouth dropping slightly. "You heard that?" I nodded. Quinn carefully held me, quietly apologizing. "I was wrong to treat you badly before. I just couldn't accept it at first, so I said those things. That night, holding you, I thought it through. Samuel, I like you. I never hated you." I softly hummed. Quinn hugged me tighter, wanting to squeeze me into his arms. "Samuel, can you give me a chance to love you again?" I pressed my lips, trying to stay calm, and nodded, "Yes." Quinn smiled, leaned in, and kissed me, voice low and tender. "So, baby, we won't divorce, okay?" His sudden use of that word made my cheeks burn and ears flush. I pushed him gently, shyly dodging his kisses. "Don't call me that." "What should I call you then?" Quinn asked knowingly, "Wife." He already called me that. Why ask? "Wife, baby."